Hey, welcome to Morning Mindset. This is day 2 of a 5-week series on living life by your design. And this week is about recognizing where you are. And today is about recognizing any fears that are getting in the way of making life happen on your terms. And I want to say and remind you, that doesn't sound right, but anyway, I want to remind you that you weren't born with a fear of anything. As a small child, you touched everything, you ate anything, and you climbed in and out of all sorts of holes and experimented with everything, like with all the curiosity of a cat, because you didn't know you had to be afraid of anything yet. You'd not learnt about fear yet. Think about that. Fear was something you learnt later by copying the actions and the reactions from the adults around you. And then, since every adult can have different fears over the same thing, think spiders, is it even a real fear? Or is that their negative self-talk kicking in from what they've learned? And then who did they learn that from? And who did they learn that from? And who did they learn that from? How far back do you go? So I think it's a false fear, because it's their fear of something that you're seeing and experiencing and watching reactions and then making up your mind about what that means. So as I said, how far back do you go? Like, whose fear are you fearful of, really? Okay, let me explain a little bit more. So the person that you learned that fear from, like I learned about being frightened of spiders from my mother by the fact that she ran like a screaming banshee out of the house when everyone, and then we live in England, there's spiders are this big, right? In Australia, I now live, it hunts from the size of your head. So the person you learned your fear from may not have been the most bravest person in the world. For argument's sake, let's pretend it was your mum, like my mum, and like she shakes in her shoes when it comes to creepy crawlies or something. Whereas maybe your friend's mum may be a lot bolder with those bugs and think spiders are okay and may even want to pick them up. Yeah. And so since we all experience, since we learn by what we experience, and experience depends largely on the teacher, then who's right about the spiders and the creepy crawlies? Like, who do you believe? Do you believe your mum or your friend's mum? Think about that for a mum too. That for a minute too. So to stay with this example of spiders, if your mum was afraid of spiders like my one, as a child, you're watching, you're going to think, oh, I thought spiders were like horrible, scary things. And if you saw one, you had to run, and because that's what my mother did. But it's unfounded, because not everyone is afraid of spiders. As I said, with my friend's mum, well, it might have as in a hypothetical thing. So to give you another example, my daughter's math teacher in America, because we lived in America for 17 years, he had a defanged tarantula, and he'd walk around the classroom and pop it on the desk while he was helping the kids with their problems, their math problems. So it's like, are they really something to be afraid of? I mean, to be mindful of for sure, right? There's lots of poisonous spiders, but are they something really to be frightened of so that you run around screaming your head off and have palpitations or something? Does that make sense? So think about that. So even if your fears are yours because you did have one and it did frighten you, you still have to learn the reaction from someone. You still have to learn that when that thing happened, this is how you deal with it. I think about being by a pool and your parents can't swim, and then they give you fears because they don't want you to fall in and they think you're going to drown because they can't swim, so they're frightened, and then they put that fear onto you. And I think this is where problems start, because these learned fears create massive obstacles to our own personal development and in one way or another shape us. That means it massively impacts what we allow ourselves to have and do and be in life. So, which obviously limits happiness too. So if you can recognize what fears that you've learned and how they're keeping you stuck, and we did some work on that a bit yesterday, like where did my fears come from? And so to understand really who they come from in the first place, then you can go about changing them. And I don't know if you've ever done that. Have you ever unpacked your fears and challenged them and traced them back to their origins like we talked about yesterday? Or have you just blindly accepted that you have this fear of something? How are your fears keeping you stuck? And I want you to recognize this, because it's a false stuckness. And it's probably impacting you in all sorts of ways and making you feel anxious about all sorts of things. And by the way, you're passing those fears onto your children, because they watch and react to everything you're doing too, which can limit their happiness later on. Oh, think about that. That's a bit heavy, isn't it? So I want to know, if you decided to stop living in dread of those fears and got bold instead, what would change for you? So what do you need to stop? What do you need to stop being afraid of that isn't even yours because you've traced it back now and it's gone all the way back to your mum and your mum's mum and your grandma and all the rest of it? Okay, how far back did you have to go to find out where that fear came from? So tomorrow we're going to go deeper in what you need to stop with a step-by-step process for breaking those fears down so that you've got a procedure that you can follow. And that's it from me today. Again, I want to thank you for being here. I truly do appreciate your time and I'm super grateful for that. And if you found this helpful and motivating, I would love it if you would help me inspire others by sharing this message with anyone that you think may benefit. And if you want to keep up to date with the latest trainings, make sure you join my Facebook community and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will leave you, as I always do, with my greatest wish, and that is that you live your best life, you live it with passion, reset, be authentic, and be you. And I see now that we have some comments. That's exciting. What have we got? Let's have a look. Good morning, Mark Sullivan, to you too. Thank you for tuning in again. And August, yay, that's intriguing. Never thought of fear that way before. No, it's like, where did it come from, August? You know, it does make total sense. You've got to learn how to handle events in life, by your own thought processes. And Parker says, you are full of powerful questions, mind blowing. Thank you, Parker. Thank you. Mark Sullivan says, like owners picking up little dogs every time another dog comes along and teaching their little dog to worry about every other dog. They say, that's so true. How many times do you see that? So true, so true. Parker says, what do I need to stop? That needs some deep digging. I'm sure it does, you know. And Hannah Smith says, oh, hearts to you too, Hannah Smith. Thanks for joining in. Awesome. Fantastic. Love all these comments. Keep them coming, guys. So love it that you're getting something out of it. And I will see you next time, tomorrow. Till then, have fun.